Carmelo Anthony trial. State rests after jurors hear testimony on a Saturday. And if you look right there, it says June 6th. This is a lot of information for me to memorize, so I'm going to be reading from my other phone. Court started today at 9. Judge Roach is holding court today on a Saturday to help move the trial along. At the end of the day on Friday, he said the lawyers are being fantastic and moving along great. Prosecutors plan to call about 35 witnesses in total. The first witness to take the stand on Saturday morning was a 17-year-old Memorial student athlete. He was initially under the Memorial tent, but was walking down the bleachers when the deadly encounter happened. You know, you're not supposed to bring weapons to a track meet, correct? The attorney asked. Yes, sir, the student replied. You don't expect to see someone get stabbed at a track meet or an event. He testified that he didn't see anyone crowding Anthony, he didn't expect a fight, and he didn't see any reason for Anthony to stab Metcalf. He said the was not self-defense. The student replied, no, sir, that's lethal force against non-lethal. Under cross-examination, defense attorney Toby Shook pointed out that the teen told the police detective that he remembered seeing Anthony under the team's tent before. The teen clarified that it was about a year prior and that he saw Anthony pass by. He admitted to the defense that Metcalf could look intimidating because of his size. At 9:40 a.m., a 15-year-old student athlete testified. The next teen to take the stand was a 15-year-old from Memorial who was also on the football and track team. He said that Metcalf was like a big brother to him. We all told him to leave, the teen said, referring to Anthony. He testified that Anthony got irritated and tried to provoke us as he was asked to leave. He remembered seeing Metcalf falling down the bleachers with blood on his chest. He also said that when the team returned to the bus,
a Frisco firefighter paramedic testifying that when he arrived, Metcalf had no pulse.
Yes, one person covering this topic was attacked by black women. If you take a look at the tweet, black women call me disgusting after my reaction to Karmelo Anthony supporters saying they would defend him regardless of the facts. I get told I should not criticize black people because I'm black. See with how strange that is. The same person calling me a sellout just handed me a set of required opinion based on nothing but my skin color and then called me the problem. The bottom line is not the skin color. That is the problem. Is the culture. This is what they do every single time. If you stand up for the truth that go contrary to this issue of skin color, immediately they start attacking you. And this is actually, it should not be happening. In 2026, I don't want to be saying things like this. It is embarrassing to see someone saying the truth, then refusing to accept it. This whole Karmelo Anthony case is revolving around race. I just want to plead with them. If the outcome is that this guy is guilty, they should accept it and move on like everyone else.
The center of the prosecution's case right now are these students that were under the tent. They saw the sting and the moments leading up to it. More than 10 of these students testified that Austin Metcalf repeatedly asked Anthony to leave. Several recalled Anthony responding, "Touch me and find out." Now, jurors also heard that Metcalf made the first physical contact, but witnesses described it as minor. One called it a soft touch, another described it as a little push. They testified that moments later, Anthony pulled out a 5-inch folding knife from his backpack and stabbed Metcalf in the chest. The defense argues Anthony acted out of self-defense and fear. Now, one of the key witnesses today was a 17-year-old teammate of Metcalf's who was under the tent. He testified that Metcalf tried to avoid a fight, telling Anthony, quote, "Dude, I'm not going to fight you at a track meet." Now, jurors also heard from an 18-year-old witness today. This is important testimony because he knew both Anthony and Metcalf, and he was the student who Anthony was apparently saying hi to. He testified when Austin asked him to leave, quote, "Karmelo said you'll have to move me." Austin put his hand on his back. "I saw Karmelo's hand go in the backpack. We're at a track meet. I wouldn't expect anything to be in there," Karmelo said. "Touch me, you'll have to move me and find out." See that. Meanwhile, if convicted, Anthony faces up to life behind bars. Tommy.
We're going to stand by ours regardless. This is about race. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give a damn.
Wow, those were the chaotic scenes outside of a Texas courthouse this week. Trial of Karmelo Anthony. Hello, everyone. This is the second hour of the big weekend show. It is day 3. Not looking for a fight, and they believe Karmelo Anthony was the aggressor. Now, that's what they testified to when the prosecution specifically asked them those questions. But there was some inconsistencies in their testimony today. I wrote down witnesses described the physical interaction between Metcalf and Anthony differently. I wrote down a lot of words in my notes I have here. Witnesses used words such as nudge, push, touch, grab, and shove, all describing varying intensities of a physical interaction, right? They also, yes, differed on how hard Metcalf physically touched Anthony during that altercation.
Karmelo Anthony supporters, you all need to do the right thing for once. If the evidence shows he is guilty, own it. Stop turning every self-defense case into a racial martyrdom narrative. No demonstrations, no most peaceful looting, no excuses. A kid is gone. Facts over feelings. If the jury says guilty, respect the verdict like everyone else has to. The pattern of rape and destructions when the outcome isn't what you want has to end. Yes, I know the outcome, how these people will react. I just want to plead with them to, exercise, accept the verdict of what will come out of this, because this is something we should not be catching feelings over what just happened. I don't want to hear about self-defense. If I get this, if this guy was alive, yeah, we can have this conversation. Even having this conversation to me feel uncomfortable.
It's official. The witnesses have testified. The cameras have seen it. Don't keep coming up here talking about Karmelo Anthony was jumped. He was not. Karmelo Anthony was a victim of racial discrimination. He's not. He was a young man who had a thug mentality, and he went there, and he thought he was going to get him an easy score. The young white boy didn't back down. So
you see that? I can only imagine what the family's feeling when they're looking at their now deceased son laying here, and I'm looking towards Karmelo Anthony's side of the courtroom, and, they're just taking it all in. It's a different kind of emotional reaction. It might not be as audible and visible because it's none of their people. Of course, Karmelo's sitting there facing, his liberty's at stake. He could go to jail for the rest of his life.
And so while I was still inside of the courtroom, the jury also heard testimony from 2 teens who were under the tent that fateful day.
Wrote down that I think it'll be interesting to see how the jury really processes that and how they understand.
Yes. There is something, I don't know if I should say it. If Karmelo Anthony loses this case, these people will burn down everywhere in Texas. That is just my observations, what I'm seeing. They are agitated for reasons I don't get. This is a case where we should not even be siding with someone like this. But because they are trying to create this narrative of self-defense, it is getting to a level that, in fact, it wants to repeat itself, like what we saw with George Floyd. That is exactly what I'm seeing on social media. Karmelo Anthony supporters are gearing up. Yes, for people who don't know, my YouTube channel is Omoge Vlog TV, and my real name is Ransom. That is the question I say every day. Please, what is your real name? I'm called Ransom. So if you meet me on the street, that is how you should call me. I don't want to prolong the video. And please stay through with me. I will continue to update you on this topic. And so the short clips you see at the end, that is for what you're going to. You can always skip.
Supporting Spencer, talking about Steve Hilton as well. And it's surprising. So the ranks are breaking up because at a certain point, you're like, well, this is ridiculous.
Obviously, God wanted 5 more months.
Ending up
For Los Angeles.
I had Spencer Pratt on my podcast the other day. I think
So this is breaking news. Everyone that supports me is a Democrat.
Encouraging her fans not to vote for Pratt. For a fan.
Team this city
just fall apart.
Mayorship, insurance companies, they don't have to pay for people to rebuild their home.
Aaron Bass.
I just wanted to share how happy I am to be
The city councilwoman.
They said I can't just open up these cases with.
Can't keep streetlights on.
To the media, we do not care.
These elitists in California. Now you realize people everywhere in America make fun of people.
And so this is my life.
You're talking about qualifications, right?
Yeah.
And the black community.
It's illegal.
Spencer Pratt, who's running for mayor of Los Angeles.
Able to. I know, but
Also, I have to say,
We don't even have the trust of our own people.
remarkable what he's accomplished. I'm from California. I have family in LA.
Chelsea Handler, she's not a fan, said me.
The only people that aren't are the socialists.
2010.